fallen leaves tell a story. The great Elden Ring was shattered. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Now, Queen Marika the Eternal is nowhere to be found. And in the night of the Black Knives, Godwyn the Golden was first to perish. Soon, Marika's offspring, demigods all, claimed the shards of the Elden Ring. The mad taint of their newfound strength triggered the shattering. A war from which no lord arose. A war leading to abandonment by the greater will. Oh, rise now, ye tarnished, ye dead who yet live. The call of long-lost grace speaks to us all. Horalu, chieftain of the Badlands, the ever-brilliant Gold Mask, Fear, the deathbed companion, the loathsome dung-eater, and Sir Gideon Ofnir, the all-knowing. And one other, whom grace would again bless. A tarnished of no renown. Cross the fog to the lands between. To stand before the Elden Ring and become the Elden Lord.
Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Sirius and I will be playing Elden Ring. This is going to be a semi-blind playthrough, and by that I mean that I have already played this game for approximately 40 hours, which arguably is a long time, but I actually haven't even gotten very far in the game. I don't think I've even finished 1/3 of it, or maybe just barely 1/3 of it, but I came to the conclusion that I wanted to start over because I don't think I was doing this game justice with my first playthrough. So I want to perhaps raise my level of observation and dedication to interesting aspects of the game and not get so lost in the game itself, you know. I want to get lost in the world more so than I want to get lost in the game. This is still going to be semi-blind, so everything I don't know yet, I'm not gonna know. I will allow comments this time around, but please do not post any spoilers. Alright, so let's get into this. We started out as a vagabond this time around. Comes with a very decent spread of attributes, almost no intelligence, faith, or arcane, but we were barely playing around with those in our first playthrough, and I think we're going to keep it that way. We have 15 vigor, 10 mind, 11 endurance, 14 strength, and 13 dexterity. So overall, I feel like we have a good spread. If we kind of want to reach the same level of stats we had with our other characters, if we plan on using similar weapons, which I'm not sure about because I'm not sure if I was a fan of the spear we ended up using. I still want to be playing with a shield. I might stick to this sword. It's nice. You know, it has a good moveset. Perhaps we're gonna stick to this. Now, I said I was gonna be a bit more observant about the game. And there's actually one thing that came to my attention. This church is very interesting. Because I wonder why it is lying abandoned. It is obviously not well kept, but this corpse over here is relatively fresh. You could even say so fresh that it couldn't even have been a month since her death. And if we pick up the item, we get a tarnished wisened finger, which is very significant considering that there is a message right where she died, and this message reads, "Though the path be broken and uncertain, claim your place as Elden Lord." And I'm honestly thinking, you know, and I have been thinking this, but I haven't really touched upon it in my previous playthrough, is that maybe this is a maiden that was either like used in the ritual to summon us, or the maiden that did summon us. Maybe someone used her, or maybe she did this all on her own. Either way, someone killed her here very recently. Maybe it was a monster, maybe it was a person. The way she is kind of suggests to me that she was sitting down while she died. She does not appear to be bloodied in any way other than the wound that killed her, so there was no mauling from any beast. No limbs are missing, there's no bites or anything, so it looks more like someone simply stabbed her very efficiently, and then while she was bleeding out, she wrote this message and died. There also seems to be a chair here very conveniently, so perhaps someone was actually sitting there, maybe questioning her while she was dying, maybe threatening her, telling her that they would kill her if she does not comply with perhaps the ritual used to resurrect us, the Tarnished. But why would anyone want to do this? And why is the church in which Tarnished seem to be resurrected all broken down and abandoned? Aside from that, there's only one other important thing, and that is that there is an item up there that we can't seem to get to from within the church itself, so the game naturally leads you outside here. And going outside, we hear that this is the Chapel of Anticipation, which I think is a very significant name, because the Tarnished, as far as I could tell from the intro, were the anticipated heroes that were meant to put an end to the Shattering, which was a war that was supposed to produce a new Elden Lord, but never did. Instead, it simply destroyed the lands, which is why someone decided to start resurrecting important figures to try and bring balance, to have these important figures from times past rise up and put an end to this mess, but none of them actually did become the Elden Lord. So, either by design of someone or just by chance, we come into the picture, and perhaps many before us, and perhaps many after us, or maybe we are the last. Because if you look at the state that church is in, maybe we are the last. And is this the only place where Tarnished are being resurrected? Either way, very interesting. And back here, there's a door, but it is blocked shut, which tells me that later down the line, we are going to be able to get through there, maybe from the other side. Perhaps this is an invisible wall, but I don't think it is. I don't think we can break through this. I don't know if hitting it multiple times changes anything. So yeah, most likely we're gonna have to come back here another time, and then we are going to be able to go back there. Looking around, we can also see a statue up there, which has roots kind of climbing up along it. It holds a spear, and it has a helmet on, and on top of that helmet there seems to be an ornamented decoration. And if I had my spyglass or a bow, I could show you, but it looks to be a tree on the helmet, similar to this tree. So it appears that this is a god of the earth tree, military god, something, whatever. Another thing I have missed in my first playthrough, which I've only discovered when doing multiple new characters to try and see if I could defeat this boss that's about to come up, is that there's a statue up there. And you may not be able to see it well without me using a bow or anything, but she seems to be holding up a ring, which I think depicts the Elden Ring, which makes me think even more so that this is a place where Tarnished were being resurrected. But for one reason or another, this is not being done anymore. And we can see signs of battle here. There is, weapons all over the place. And there is a statue of Marika, which I would very much like to inspect. The game leads you there, but there's also a fog gate, and everybody who's played a Souls game before knows that we are about to face a foe. I'm not sure if I can beat this guy. We have decent endurance. Maybe we can, but it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna take a while, it's gonna be difficult. Ah, I'm lagging. My bad. I was lagging, so I couldn't actually attack there. But yeah, I don't know exactly. Nah. I can't do it. It would be easier to do with a ranged class. I did try some ranged classes, but I didn't want to play any of those classes. I wanted to play a vagabond, which fits my playstyle the most. But we can go back there. Anyway, we could definitely hear some water just now, and I think that's significant in a way. It looks like I may have skipped. No. I haven't skipped it. I thought I have skipped this by accident.
Don't worry, Torrent. Fortune is on her side. We found her here after all. One of her kind is sure to seek the Elden Ring. Even if it does violate the Golden Order.
Okay. I want to say that these few words spoken here may actually be much more important than I have given them credit so far. After going through the game a while in my first playthrough, and now hearing these words again, experience the start of the game again, I feel like these words are actually quite significant. There's a couple of questions, or rather a couple observations about the words spoken by this character that we don't know the origin of, or the affiliation of, or anything really. But she says that fortune is on our side. After all, they found us here, which could be meaning two or three things, or one of two things, maybe a third thing. But the first, we could be fortunate that we ended up here. Like I said, there was the sound of water, suggesting perhaps we got dumped into the ocean and then ended up here. You can also tell there's a lot of water here, so from somewhere, at least, water is coming in here. And there's a lot of coffins and corpses around. The other thing it could mean is that we were fortunate that she found us because she did something to prevent us from dying. And the third thing is basically that none of what I just said really has any significance. Alright then, onward we go. There is an item back there, but we cannot pick it up even if we go back there, so we're just gonna press on. There's a developer message. Any message that we find is not by a player, but by the developer, because we are playing offline and we are going to continue playing offline. The Cave of Knowledge lies below. brave Tarnished take the plunge of learning and remembrance. Recall the arts of war and your warrior's blood. Alright, so down there would be the tutorial area, which we are going to skip because there is nothing worth getting. Even this item up there is not worth getting. We are simply going to skip. As I was thinking about making a new playthrough, I kind of struggled with one thing in particular. How to play the game. Obviously, I know a lot of things now. I know the location of certain items. I know the location of certain bosses. And I was honestly struggling for a while to even think about how I should be playing the game. In what order should I be playing the game? Should I just do the same order? Should I do a different order? Should I skip content? Or should I do all the content? And I think I'm gonna do all the content, but maybe we do things in a slightly different order this time around, because we kind of figured out a maybe like suggested way to follow in terms of your level. Like unlocking this, we can probably wait a good amount of time before unlocking this, because I don't think there is really much down there that was really worth getting, so I think we can skip most of that. I don't really know any significance, or I don't see any significance to this corpse. I am not the biggest fan of this armor. Not gonna lie. Really am not. I don't think there's anything in here that holds any significance. No. Alright, here we are. Limb Grave. There's something else I wanted to touch on before I move forward, and that is the fact that the character that either is the reason we are still alive, or is simply someone that came across us but then didn't bother to really stick around. But I want to say that she probably saved us. This place, again, naming is very important. Stranded Graveyard appears to be a graveyard where people strand on, perhaps when they fall or get thrown off this cliff. Anyway, what I wanted to say is that she did say that us seeking the Elden Ring violates the Golden Order. And that made me think, is the Golden Order responsible for the fact that no more Tarnished are actually being actively resurrected to try and have them become the Elden Lord? Or perhaps is the Golden Order the order of people who did resurrect the Tarnished in the first place, but they don't condone the act of resurrecting Tarnished who aren't of any noble birth or historical significance? Perhaps. And that said, there's a character here who I don't think I paid enough attention to in my first playthrough. So let's activate this fire, and let's also rest at it. And then let's look at this NPC. This NPC struck me as very interesting the first time around, but I find him even more interesting now that I've played the game a little longer. If we take a closer look, we can see that these bandages are bloody. Or are they bandages? Are they clothes? Are they bandages? His clothes are definitely bloody. He seems to be wearing a dagger of some sort, but there's no blood on that. Also, he wears a mask, which leads me to think, or one option that I'm considering is that this character is a leper. And the blood on the bandages, yeah, that's just something that's very plausible if he is a leper, because he's obviously going to have his bandages changed all the time, and, you know, like, the open skin, and, you know, all the mess just gets everywhere. So, yeah. That could be a thing. But there is something else that kind of throws me off in the first dialogue option. So let's talk to him.
Oh, yes. Tarnished, are we? Come to the lands between for the Elden Ring? Of course you have. No shame in it. Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless. Without guidance, without the strength of runes, and without an invitation to the Round Table Hold, you are fated, it seems, to die in obscurity.
Alright. It seems very weird that this guy is standing here with a lantern, so obviously he's waiting. You know, he's not just happening by here, he's waiting for Tarnished to come out of this place. He knows we are Tarnished. He knows we are maidenless. Is it obvious that we are maidenless because we don't have a maiden with us? Or perhaps does he know that we in particular don't have a maiden because maybe he killed her? That's an interesting thought that I've been having, which I felt bad not exploring in my first playthrough, which was one of the main reasons why I wanted to start a new one. Because I feel like not only this, but a lot of other things were kind of not really observed by me as closely as I should be observing these things. Let's talk to him again, because the next things he says are very interesting too.
Luckily for you, however, there is one shining ray of hope for even the maidenless. Me. Vare. Take care to listen. Are you familiar with grace? The golden light that gives life to you, Tarnished. You may also behold its golden rays, pointing in a particular direction at times. That is the guidance of grace, a path that a Tarnished must travel. Indeed. Grace's guidance holds the answers. It will lead you, Tarnished, to the path you are meant to follow, even if it leads you to your grave.
Okay, I find this bit of dialogue very, very, very interesting, because he tells us specifically about the guidance of grace. And at the very end, he has a very sinister tone as he says, even if it leads you to your grave. And that got me thinking. It got me thinking about, well, we know what waits for us in the castle. We know what's waiting for us there. And by the way, in the beginning of the game, there are going to be a couple of spoilers. It is a semi-blind playthrough, not an entirely blind playthrough. So I'm going to try to use what knowledge I have already to make sense of the things that I couldn't make sense of in my first playthrough. So now I know what's waiting for me at the castle. At the castle, Godric the Grafted is waiting. Grafted means that he has multiple limbs, just like the creature we just fought. Grafting is actually a method in which you take branches or pieces of plant to put them on other existing plants. People do it with succulents a lot to give them specific shapes, desired shapes, but you can also do it with other plants. And it is done by cutting into the branch in a certain way and connecting it to wherever you want to connect it. If you simply type in grafting on Google, you will most likely find probably a few Elden Ring references by now, but you will find mostly plant-related things. I would think so. And Godric mostly uses the limbs of Tarnished. And so that makes me wonder, are we just another Tarnished in a assembly line basically designed to provide Godric and his family that went into ruin with new body parts? And is perhaps this guy the one that sets us on the way into the trap? Basically, follow the path of grace, and that basically leads us to our demise. Very interesting to think about it that way, very interesting to think about that perhaps we were set up from the start. We are maidenless because our maiden was killed, and therefore we are going to be weak. If we don't find a way to level up and get stronger, we would definitely die. So perhaps, yes, we were set up by someone or some organization, perhaps the Golden Order, but maybe not the Golden Order. See, there's a couple of things the Golden Order could be. The Golden Order, not Golden Order, what is that? No, the Golden Order could be the order behind this conspiracy that I just concocted for you guys. It could be behind that. It could be that this Golden Order is responsible for the assembly line creation of Tarnished, but the character in the cave did suggest that us going to seek the Elden Ring is against the Golden Order, which is another case for and against the conspiracy that I just came up with. Because it could mean that it's against the Golden Order, because the Golden Order doesn't want us to seek the Elden Ring. The Golden Order basically just wants us to go into that castle, die, and become part of a grafted creature, for our body parts to be used in grafting. Or perhaps the Golden Order that we are violating is something completely different. Like, for example, the order of people or beings that was responsible for the first batch of Tarnished, and it is actually against their will to create more. Okay, let's talk to him again, see if he has anything more to say.
Grace's guidance will reveal the path forward, most certainly. To Castle Stormvale, over on the cliff, the home of the decrepit demigod, Godric the Grafted.
Alright, yeah, just like I said, he's pointing us directly into the castle. But, without a way to level up, what does he expect our fate to be?
It's time you set off, I should think. To Castle Stormvale on the cliff, where Grace would guide you. If you seek the Elden Ring, maidenless as you are.
This feels like a setup. Not gonna lie, it just feels like a setup. I don't know the specifics, but I have hunches. Also, this corpse and others like it are very interesting to me. I will be able to look at it a bit closer eventually. For now, let me just point out that it seems to be partially burned. The hands are missing. And I think it's even blindfolded. But, strangely enough, the clothes aren't burned. Strange thing indeed. Now, let's press on forward. And we're gonna have to come up with a way to play the game. I don't want to skip content. I don't want to do a power start, in quotation marks, because I want to play the game kind of in a natural way. You know, I want to observe and use my observation and the experience I already have in the game to try and figure out this game. And you are very welcome to come along if you enjoy hearing me ramble about these things. This is probably going to be a very talk-heavy series. Now, looking out here from this cliff, we can actually see some interesting things. We can see a piece of ruin and another one down there. And we're actually going to come across a few more of them. You know, there's a piece there and a piece down here. And they seem kind of scattered, almost like splinters. But you cannot actually see the foundation of where this building would have stood at one point, right? If you look at this piece, for example. Come here. Let me kill you. Let's try not to get too distracted, though. If you look at this here piece, if it was part of a building that actually stood here at some point, where is its foundation, right? These pillars, they would have had to stand on something where we are standing right now. If this is something that fell over, where's the base? This is kind of interesting, and it makes you really wonder, where did this piece of building come from? What could have done this? Is this kind of significant? I mean, the period of the war that raged on for a while was dubbed the Shattering. And these structures here seem to have been scattered, almost as if shattered and then kind of dropped all over the place. This kind of has the same vibe to it, because this is not really a building. If you look at it, you can tell it's not a building because it serves no function. There's no door or anything. It seems more like perhaps the top of a building, roof of a building. Let's take a look out here. We've got a beach, and there's another one. Another one of these pieces. All the way down here. Is this part of the same building? How did it go all the way down there? It's very curious indeed. But for now, we are going to follow the path that we are being led on. It may be a setup, but for now, it seems like the most obvious place to go. The most obvious direction to take. And it leads us directly into this church. There's more of these crucified, handless, semi-burned corpses. And we also do get some runes here. The Church of Ellie. I actually don't know who Ellie is. And there doesn't seem to be a statue or anything that could maybe help us identify who Ellie is or was in relation to the Queen Marika or any of the other characters that were introduced to us so far. Alright, we rested. Now we can pick up this item, which is going to be a smithing stone. Oh. I want to pick up the item. And we also found another NPC here. Who isn't very interesting, I'm not gonna lie.
You're a Tarnished. I can see it. And I can also see that you're not after my throat. Then why not purchase a little something? I am Kale, purveyor of fine goods.
Actually, what he says makes me wonder if other Tarnished usually go for his throat. Makes you wonder, right? Anyway, he recommends that we buy a crafting kit. And we should. We should buy it. And we are going to. But we're going to have to sell something first. And we are going to sell this golden rune to him. And then we can buy that. It is all we can buy so far, though. Let's learn a bit more about him.
I am of a nomadic people, selling wares as I travel. The land has been tainted by madness since the shattering of the Elden Ring. It's only Tarnished like yourself, who keep things from drying up entirely. Let's say you're a very welcome customer.
Does that mean there is no one else around other than Tarnished? But Vare, I don't think he's Tarnished. Anyway, let's leave.
Goodbye. Nice to do business.
Alright. So, I don't think there's much we can craft by simply picking up the crafting kit. But for the time being, I actually want to hold on to my runes so we can level up. Because we need to get stronger ASAP. We're going to follow this road which leads us to the first location for a piece of map. These pillars, and I didn't realize this until very late into my first not playthrough, attempted playthrough, I guess I should call it, that these are the locations of where you can find the maps. So we are going to head down this path to pick up a piece of map. These skulls, these glowing skulls, they seem to be a gameplay mechanic to give you a steady stream of small runes which provide you with 200 runes apiece. It's really nice because it allows you to be able to keep some runes on hand should you need them. We got a drop. Oh, we already got the helmet. Very interesting. I was wondering though if there's like a story significance to these runes in these in these skulls, but I'm honestly not sure. I do like picking them up though whenever I can, because these runes stay with you even when you die. Let's press on. Thinking about playstyle. I'm not entirely sure what kind of playstyle I am gonna go for. But so far I'm leaning toward going the same playstyle as before. So we're going to use a shield, and we're going to use a weapon, and we're mostly going to focus on guard counters and summoning and so on and so forth. I don't feel like changing my playstyle from my previous play. It worked for me, you know? It worked for me. So we get some cookery here. I really do like guard counters. It's kind of a good way to make a shield playthrough a little bit more interesting. Before that, or before Elden Ring, you could parry or you could block, but there was nothing like in between. And this is just, you know, like it's a very good alternative to parrying if you really don't want to bother with learning parry timers. I'm gonna go in here real quick just to activate this campfire. And I think there's also an item over here. Yeah, we get a small gold effigy, which is not very interesting to us, but either way we're gonna pick it up. I've already mentioned that I had a bit of trouble thinking about what order to play the game in. I know a lot of things, you know, and where you can find them, what to expect, what level I should be. But I also don't really want to skip any of the content. I kind of want to keep the sense of exploration alive. You know? I don't want to end up foregoing the exploration that naturally occurs. We're gonna wait for these guys to fly off before we press on. There's a developer message here telling us that there's a chamber underneath the ruins, which is more or less significant. Not very significant, but the developer is just trying to make sure that we don't miss it. I think we were almost attacked here. Well, let's head to this Lost Grace. And let's look at our surroundings. So this grace tells us to go forward. And we could, but we'd be absolutely punished. And that's another one of these hints that I think that lead me to believe that we are being set up. We are supposed to follow this path into our demise. But we're gonna look elsewhere. We're gonna first get stronger so we can actually deal with everything that lies ahead. Let's rest at this campfire, which is maybe gonna prompt an encounter. Oh yes, it is.
Greetings, traveler from beyond the fog. I am Melina. I offer you an accord. Have you heard of the Finger Maidens? They serve the Two Fingers, offering guidance and aid to the Tarnished. But you, I am afraid, are maidenless. I can play the role of maiden, turning runes into strength to aid you in your search for the Elden Ring. You need only take me with you to the foot of the Erd Tree.
Alright, so now we finally meet the mysterious figure who goes by Melina. There's a few interesting things that she says. The first thing I want to point your attention to, which I think is very significant, is that she says that she can play the role of maiden, but she isn't a maiden, so she does not serve the Two Fingers. Does that have anything to do with her tattoo? Is that a tattoo? She has some sort of mark, and also she seems to be blind on that eye, or at least blinder on that eye. I can't tell if she's missing an eye. It doesn't look like it. But there certainly is some form of damage to it, and there is also that mark. Perhaps she was marked and that damaged the eye? But yeah, very interesting that she points out that she is indeed not a maiden who serves the fingerless, the Two Fingers. There we go. She does not serve the Two Fingers. But then who does she serve? Or does she serve herself? Is she independent? Does she have any affiliation? Maybe with the Golden Order, but probably not with the Golden Order, because she takes our side, and what we are doing is violating the Golden Order. The other thing that I find very interesting is that she says that her condition to help you out and become your maiden in proxy is that you are supposed to take her to the foot of the Erd Tree. So she has a destination, and she cannot get there on her own. She needs you to help her get there. Which is very interesting, considering that she seems to be able to travel anywhere at will. Or is she? because she appeared out of nowhere with some blue fog and light that just... Why aren't you just teleporting to the foot of the Earth Tree? Like, is there something that hinders you from doing that? How exactly are you transporting? Are you just invisible? Are you perhaps going through different dimensions? It's very interesting, and so far, even in my other playthrough, I haven't gotten an answer to this yet. If you refuse her, she's just going to say, oh, okay, well, I know that I'm asking you to trust a complete stranger, but if you change your mind, you can ask me again whenever you rest at a fire. So it seems very obvious that you are basically supposed to accept this.
Then it's settled. Summon me by grace to turn runes into strength. Ah, another matter. I bequeath to you this ring. Use it to traverse great distances. It will summon a spectral steed named Torrent. Torrent has chosen you. Treat him with respect.
Alright, now we can level up.
Turn your runes to strength. Let my hand rest upon you. For but a moment. Share them with me. Your
Alright.
thoughts, your ambitions, the principles you would follow.
I like how she points out your morals, your goals, your ambitions, your principles. Basically, what attributes do you want to have, right? There we go, and like just like that, she just appears into thin air. And just like her, Torrent is spectral. It's the same kind of glow, so she is also a spectral being. Or perhaps she uses spectral magic. Either way, very interesting. We could now use our starting item, which gives us 3,000 runes. We could now use this to level up, or we could use it to buy items. But to be honest with you, I don't think there is anything I really want to buy right of this moment. There are a few things, obviously, like the looking glass, cookbooks for our crafting kit, so we can craft more things. We also have heightened item discovery right now, which it's already over? Huh. Okay. For a moment there we had more item discovery chance, but it seems like that's already over again. There is something to be said about... oh yeah, let's get rid of the halberd. There's something to be said about getting a ranged weapon, because not having one means we're not going to be able to lure enemies. So I think we're going to head back to the merchant to see if we can buy a ranged weapon. Yeah, I'm not gonna play this in a very scripted way. I'm going to try to just play it as natural as possible. Oh, we went to the wrong place, didn't we? This... we first have to go out of the cave before we can teleport. This is a little annoying because, I mean, this is literally just a few meters out, right? Now, what was I saying? Oh yeah,
This way, Tarnished. May I have a word?
I forgot about this one. But yeah, she appears after you meet Melina and you come back to this place. Before we talk to her though, I am not going to play this as if scripted. I'm just going to play as natural as possible to try and have the same sense of exploration. I'm going to use what knowledge I have to judge where I should be going and what I should be doing, and perhaps what is worth skipping. But that being said, I will do all the content that I can get my hands on. I want to kill all the bosses. I'm not going to skip anything just because it doesn't yield any good rewards. For the time being, I'm not exactly sure where we should go, what we should start with. I'm kind of thinking about perhaps just going, you know, kind of like this. You know, we start here and we just head up there and we just follow this. Or rather, we follow this path and then we follow down here and do everything that's close to the road. And then afterwards, we are gonna like branch off and stuff. We'll see. We'll see. For now, let's talk to this person. But actually, before we do that... Oh, he's asleep. Okay, she put him to sleep. Or perhaps he's just asleep naturally. So we're gonna have to talk with her. I wanted to buy an item so that I can look at her more closely. Perhaps we can figure out another way how we can look at her a bit closer. Yeah, there you go. In my other playthrough I had a bow, which is how I was able to look at her a little bit closer. But you can see that she has a second half of a face. And somehow she seems to look very similar to Melina. Not quite, but there are some similarities. You know, one eye closed, a mark on the eye. There's some spectralness going on. If we look at her a little bit longer, we can see that her neck is kind of cracked. And then if we go down and look at her hands, you can see that there's cracks and that she actually has forearms, which is a little off-putting because that makes you think of grafting, doesn't it? She also appears to be wearing a ring, perhaps similar to the one that we have, but who knows. But yeah, she seems like a doll, not really a person.
A pleasure to meet thee, Tarnished. I am the witch Renna. I'd heard tell of a Tarnished hurtling about atop a spectral steed, and upon looking into the matter, the talk, I surmise, is of thee. Thou art possessed of the power, no? To call forth a spectral steed named Torrent.
It's kind of interesting that she would know about this, even though we haven't really been using the horse much. We got on it once. I wonder if you never get on it, do you never get this dialogue? Because if you did, it would kind of not make sense. But then again, I'm pretty sure this is scripted. You just get this dialogue as soon as you come back here. So we're just going to tell her that yes, we can. I wonder what happens if you tell her that you cannot. But you get a very good item when you tell her that you can.
Ah, as I had hoped. I was entrusted this for thee, by Torrent's former master. 'Tis a bell for calling forth spirits. Summon them with it. From ash and return to the Erdtree, the spirits will obey thine command but briefly, as they recall battles past. Now it is thine. to do it as thou wishest.
A few interesting things in what she said, and I feel like I'm repeating myself. I keep saying interesting, significant. Anyway, she says ashes unreturned to the Earth Tree. Does that mean that the Earth Tree is kind of the cycle of life? Is that maybe something that people believe, or is that actually true? Do people return to the Earth Tree and then get reincarnated or something? But yeah, return. You can only return somewhere if you come from there. So is the Earth Tree the source of life, but also where you go after death?
Forgive mine intrusion, Tarnished. I doubt we shall again meet. But all the same, learn well the lands between. How long will it be, I wonder, before the Tarnished tire of obeisance to the two fingers?
I actually do not know what obeisance mean. So I'm gonna look that up real quick. Obeisance. A gesture expressing deferential respect, such as a bow or curtsy. So basically, deferential respect. So yeah, that's bad. Also, yeah, higher item discovery again. Not sure why, but higher item discovery just seems to be happening at random. There were a few things I wanted to say though, so let's not talk to the merchant just yet. She does tell us that this bell, I keep pressing the wrong button. This bell was given to her and then passed on to us from Torrent's former master. And this is actually something that is kind of curious, isn't it? Because Torrent was with Melina. So did we get the bell from Melina through Rani? But then that makes no sense. She could have just given this ourselves. Herself, I mean. Or was Melina perhaps never really the owner of Torrent? Maybe she stole Torrent? Who knows, really? I mean, it's just interesting that she would say Torrent's former owner, but we met Torrent's former owner, at least the one before us. Does she mean someone before that? Anyway, let's read the description to see if we can learn anything. A bell capable of summoning spirits. Spirits can be summoned in the vicinity of a rebirth monument. When summoning is possible, the monument icon will be visible on the left side of the screen. Only one type of spirit may be summoned at once, and none may be summoned during multiplayer. Alright, so there seems to be monuments, and I have actually been wondering. I've kind of come across. I feel like I've come across them, but I was never really able to actually figure them out. You know, where exactly they are. No, that's not right. That's not what I wanted to say. I've never been able to figure out if they were actually responsible for me being able to summon. We're too far away from the monument now, but if we go back, We should start being close enough again. No? Kind of curious how we were able to summon here just a moment ago, but now we're not. Maybe you can only summon a spirit once? And then you're not able to anymore? I actually don't know where the monument is out here. I've seen it in like... Oh yeah, by the way, these corpses, they groan at nighttime. Yeah, I have not... Oh wait, I think it's in here. No, it's actually not in the church. I'm trying to find this monument, but honestly, I don't know where it is. We don't want to mess with this guy. But yeah, these corpses are groaning at night. But yeah, I don't actually know where the monument is. I have, I think, seen them before. But I'm unable to really make out the location of the monument that allows us to summon around this area. But yeah, there's a lot of these crucified corpses over there, so... Now we're too far from it. You know what? We're not gonna find it. I don't care if we don't find it. Let's just go back to the church. Talk with the merchant. Buy a bow.
Wait. Well, you're back.
Okay, we want to buy. He doesn't sell a bow, okay. We want to buy this. And we want to buy... Let's just buy these.
Goodbye. Nice to...
And then... We're going to head somewhere where we can buy a bow. This is where the superior knowledge comes from. We are kind of like getting off the path now because I want to buy a bow. But I'm going to try to avoid these kind of situations as much as possible where we basically just go somewhere just because I want to pick up something. But surprisingly, this place where I'm heading to right now is actually a place that I've gone to before anything else almost. Like I've been down here before I've even been to the Church of Ellie in my original first playthrough. Aha, I got him. I've also wondered if these are penguins, the type that can fly. You know, there's a type of penguin that can fly. The birds and animals in this game seem to be based on real animals. Alright, this is the merchant I was looking for. So let's talk to
What do
him.
you need? I don't want any trouble.
We won't give you trouble. We just want to buy this short bow. And do we want to buy these runes? I think we should. Because I don't know how soon we're gonna come back here. So let's buy this. And let's buy these smithing stones. We had barely enough for that.
Well, be on your way then.
Alright, let's equip the telescope. And look at this. I like this. You know, this is a very realistic thing that you would build. If you were doing outdoor survival crafting. The only thing I dislike about it is that there isn't any support structure. You would either put some ropes or so around the end there of the stick, the long one, so that it can basically hang on the arched ones, you know, the ones that are leaning over it, or you would have one that is supporting it vertically from below, so that it can stand. So that's like my only gripe with it, is that this is good, but it lacks just this one little detail, like either like a rope or something that suggests that these sticks, the ones that are connected to the ground here, right and left, that they're kind of holding this long stick up so these can be leaned against it. That's like my only gripe. Because yeah, you could put it in the ground and then lean it over, but that seems like an awful lot of work for something that could very well just fall over. Let's make some arrows. They are equipped. We got 10.
Again, I don't want any trouble.
Let's just buy a couple more. We can buy some 4 arrows.
All done? Well, be on your way then.
Alright, we can craft a few more things now with all the crafting books that we bought. We can craft fire arrows, normal arrows, bone arrows, with or without the fletching. We can also craft bombs, fire pots, holy water pots. We can craft buffing items, and we can craft something that cures poison. Very nice, very good. Let us head down this beach since we are here now. There are a couple of enemies ahead which I should be able to deal with. I don't think I will be able to summon down here. But yeah, I should be able to deal with these guys. Okay, come here. Attack me already. Yeah, they aren't very tough. Like even at are we still come on. Yeah, we're still level 9. We haven't leveled up a single time. These guys seem to be clipped into the stone here. It's very curious. I wonder how that happened, but they basically just got clipped into the stone, and now I can't get whatever item he dropped. Oh wait, I can. Gives me a string. There's also a corpse here. Not a corpse. A skull. Let's pick that up. Let's go in here and activate this grace in this cave. This is actually one of the earlier places I've actually gone to, and I'm considering if perhaps this is something we should be doing relatively early this time around as well. I'm still struggling with thinking about where to go and what to do. There's just a lot of things. Right, like there's like a lot of things that we could be doing. Down here is actually something that I haven't done in my first playthrough, which is why I'm headed there right now, because I'm kind of curious. Okay, we can summon spirits down here. I'm like a sucker for loot. I'm sorry if I'm picking up too much loot. But yeah. I've actually not really been around this area much. There's a giant here that just patrols up and down here. And I don't think I've ever killed this particular giant in my original playthrough. He's a bit too strong for me right now, obviously. So I'm not gonna mess with him, really. These guys are really tough. Oh, and I think that's one of these monuments. Let's go check that out. Yeah, these things are really tough, as in they have a lot of HP. Yeah, this is a monument. This is a monument that lets you summon spirits. So what I'm curious about is that golden glow down there, which seems to just be moving around. I don't know if I need to be a higher level for this, but I'm just curious. So since this is one of the only things I haven't really played with or discovered down here, I'm curious what it is. It doesn't seem like I'm triggering anything from being around here. It makes a sound. It follows a path. See if we can get a closer look at it. Some sort of an interesting pattern it has. I don't know what it resembles. It's not really tracks of any kind. Like, it's not like a creature is walking around there. There is an enemy back here. I'm not quite sure what kind of enemy, but there is an enemy. Let's backstab. Oh yeah, I've seen this type of enemy. Ow. He's not gonna get stance broken that easily. Ah, the lag messed me up. To the point I almost died. Oh, come on. Oh, we got some trousers. And I think we got a flask back. So, let's look at these trousers. Equipment. They are lighter than ours. Let's see what these say. Trousers worn by Caden sellswords. These hulking, fearless mercenaries said to hail from the mountaintops of the wintry north are adapted fighting on horseback. Kaiden is the name of their home settlement. Okay, a little bit of backstory on these guys. I don't think I've ever really learned about their backstory so far, so that's nice. We also get a strip of white flesh. Not really all that glorious, but it's something. Something new. At least, you know, this whole place back here is new. Now, before we wrap the episode up, which I'm about to do, I think I want to play around a little bit more with whatever this is. I'm gonna wait around here to see if I can attack it as it comes close. I don't know if I can, but let's see if I can maybe attack it. So it's getting closer. Oh, you can definitely hear footsteps. See if we can run after it. I think it's faster than us. Gee, okay, let's... Oh yeah, you can see some footsteps now. Am I not able to attack this? I'm trying to kind of just like attack in a line here. I don't know. Am I able to interact with this at all? Let's give it a few more shots, shall we? I'm honestly not sure if we can, but I feel like maybe if we just time it right, you know? It just takes a little while for it to come back. Ah, we were too late again. Okay, let's just walk around here. Okay, there it is. Ah, we were too late again. Oh! We did! We got a new weapon art that I haven't seen before. Usable on swords, axes, and hammers. Sweep. Brace, armament, and step into a low stance that prevents recoil from most enemy attacks. Follow up with a strong attack for a sweeping strike. It's honestly not that big of a deal. It's okay. It's okay. Not a big deal, honestly. but it's still something new. New discoveries are always fun. I'm gonna get on horseback now, just so we can ride up here, because I also want to check if there's like anything around, you know, where I never really killed this giant. If there's like any item or something that he's guarding. Like I said, I've never actually defeated him, so I don't know if he is guarding something or if he's just... it's just a skull. Okay, no, I don't think there's any significance to this giant. Oh. He mad, bro. He mad, bro. We can talk to Melina. I think Melina is how you pronounce her name. And after that, we are going to wrap up this episode.
This tiny golden aura is the grace of the Erd Tree. This light once shone in the eyes of your tarnished brethren, but now it is all that guides you. Or so I hear. You can see them, can't you? The rays of grace that guide you through your burden. Upon the cliff in Castle Stormvale is a shard bearer, a demigod, who inherited a fragment of the shattered Elden Ring. If the rays of grace signal the castle, then the Elden Ring beckons you. As an ally by pact, I pray that you are fit to face the challenge presented by the ring. Upon the cliff in Castle Storm, a demigod. If the rays of grace, then the Elden, as an ally, I pray that you are fit to face the challenge.
Alright, a few parting words, I suppose. It is very interesting that she would also tell us to head up to the castle, but unlike anyone else, she is actually giving us maybe a low-key a warning that we should be prepared for a challenge. Kind of suggesting that there is a bit of a challenge up ahead. So that's interesting. That makes me believe that she is truly on our side. More or less, at least. More than anyone else we've come across so far. I just wanted to know if it's possible to kind of like get up here. Perhaps it is if you use torrent. You can't summon him up here. That's curious. But you can obviously jump up here. Ooh, close, close. Ah, you can't summon him. Can't summon him when you're here. You know, I said a few last words, but now I am playing around. Let's see. This side seems too steep. I'm kind of wondering if you can climb the tower now. I'm just... I know. You don't have to stick around for this. This is basically... The episode is over. I'm just playing around with the terrain. Just curious to see if... We almost did it. I'm not sure if you could head up to the tower. I don't think so. It would usually maybe be a little bit more obvious if you could. Yeah, I don't think you can. I don't think you can head up into the tower. It'd be cool if you could though. Right? It would be kind of cool if you could. And they hide something up there. That said, is there a statue up there? No, I don't think there is one. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. I hope that I can provide a more coherent and informative playthrough this time around. Peace.